الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وصحبه وأزواجه أجمعين أما بعد. Many people are calling Biden a war criminal. He is. And Kamala Harris is one half of the administration. She is at least a half implicated in the disaster that happened to the Palestinians in Gaza. 50,000 and more civilians were killed, hundreds of thousands injured, half of the population homeless, destruction. And Biden, this is what you're going to take back to your creator, if you believe in one. Zionist. And she stood by him, and she did not call for an end to the war in Gaza that is from Israel against Gaza. What about Trump? People are saying, oh, Biden killed, these Muslims in Gaza. Yeah, people, we have to have a memory that extends beyond today, for the last 2 hours. For 8 years, Obama and Biden presided over the killing of hundreds of thousands of Muslims in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria, many more than the killing in Gaza. So he is also a war criminal, a much bigger war criminal with regards to Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria than he is to Gaza. Of course, the population in Gaza is much smaller, 50,000 out of 2.5 million. La ilaha illallah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that all those who died because of these criminals go to paradise, and that Allah shows them the criminals who killed them go to hellfire unless they repent and become Muslim. As for Trump, he's already promising Muslims a lot of bad things. He's already promising Muslims. Isn't he the one who supported Israel for all of his presidency? Everything they wanted, including what no president before him did. He woke up one day, said, okay, Jerusalem is yours. Of course, war criminals like Obama, when he was running for president, he went to the Jews, hoping that the Jews would support him to become president. He went to Al-Quds and said that Jerusalem is the eternal capital of Israel. It's like he owns the future. But Trump is promising you, Muslims, what he did before. He was a terrible man against Muslims, a terrible man. And now he's saying to the Jews, finish the job. Of course, the media are saying, he meant finish the war, and, that's it. But he says finish the job and destroy Hamas. Destroying Hamas means destroying Gaza. So if he becomes president, this is what he promised, that finish the job. What does this remind you of? Please read about history. Who was talking about the final solution? Hitler, the Nazis, and the Western European countries that supported the killing of the Jews. Not only Germany, France, Romania, Hungary, Poland before they were invaded, Italy. The Vatican was looking the other way, and they apologized for that later. What's the final solution? To finish with the Jews. Hitler said, didn't say that, but practically that's what he said, that the Jews were always the problem, and that, the Christians tried for centuries to kill the Jews. They didn't finish. And Hitler said, let's do the final solution. and he's using the same term with regards to finishing Gaza and as the Nazis and their supporters, Christian supporters, Western Europe, Vatican, they were wishing privately that he can finish the job. That's the same thing they were saying about the Jews, and he's promising that he will get they will get his support. That Schumer, a fanatical Jew, is actually a member of Hamas, a Palestinian, anti-Jewish, whatever he said. This man is a lunatic, but he is a firm lunatic with regards to only everything else. You can't find where he stands on anything at any time, period. But about the Jews and Muslims, he's against Muslims. Against Muslims. What if he becomes president and the same day he becomes president, he signs again the Muslim ban? That's not as bad as killing 50,000 Muslims in Gaza, Palestinians. But then he decides that, based on what somebody told him in the morning, there is a problem. There's an area called West Bank, and these people, Jews, Israel, two-state solution. No two-state solution. It's very small land. We can't divide it. And he gives the West Bank to the Jews. What's going to happen? He's already proven to be a wicked man. In the, if there is a number for wickedness from 1 to 10, he's 170,000. And he's promising the Muslims. So both administrations are criminals. The people who are dying to bring back Trump, do not forget the Republicans. They started the Iraq war. They started the Afghanistan war before that, causing the death of about 1 million Muslims. Millions were displaced, and it ended up in failure in both countries. So wherever you look in the political arena, and the camera is trying to help me, political arena in America, they're just enemies of Islam. They have proved it time after time. So yes, for those who said don't vote for Biden because Biden, we're going to vote for Harris. She's one half of the crime. She did it. She was the vice president of the United States for 3.5 years and more, and she might become president. This woman doesn't show any sympathy for the Palestinians. A Hindu, Christian, married to a Jew. So do you think, is there any Muslim there, some kind of Islam there? She's going to continue what's going on because the support for the Jews has been so strong, and intimidation of those who don't support the Jews. Like, for example, even Jews now are being kicked out of their jobs. Not only Arabs and Muslims are kicked out of their jobs, threatened and banned because they say, let's end the genocide, let's end the war, let's bring peace. They kick them out. But the Jews don't have this power. It's just the media has this thing. They have so many Jews there. And the Jews have financial presence. And the Muslims in America are divided. Hey, they're divided in the Muslim world. They're more divided here. They don't have the power to do anything. So is there going to be any strategic change between Biden, Harris, and Trump? Biden is out, and soon, whenever his life ends, he will go back to his creator and he will have to defend himself. He's a terrible creature. Now, Trump is supposed to be German, who started all this Nazi thing, Germany. He would call the Nazis who demonstrated in Charlottesville, just about 2 hours away from me, where I'm living here. Jews will not replace us. He said they're good people on both sides. And then he gave Al-Quds to the Jews and says, finish the job in Gaza. Then he's going to say, finish the job in the West Bank. Muslims, don't vote for any of these criminals. I think the best solution for this country is what has been done for a lot of the past 20 years, maybe more. A divided government. Muslims, a divided government will be much less with regards to hostility to the commoners here in America, the general public, taking money from them, giving them to the rich, or to homosexual programs or whatever it is, much less, because they will do what they have been doing since Biden became president. They are blocking each other from doing anything and keep criticizing each other. If you listen to this guy, this and that, and those Republicans, this and that. If you listen to that guy, and the Republicans, this and that, and this and that. So bickering is the best solution for Muslims so that they don't come together. And then whether Harris or Trump is a president and they have Congress controlled by their party, Muslims, what's going to happen to you and to your brothers and sisters in the Muslim world, and especially in Gaza now, the bleeding wound on the side of the Muslims all over the world. And they're not doing much about it. So, listen, both sides are equally criminal. In fact, the Republicans under Bush, Cheney, and we don't know exactly who was the president during the 8 years, but they killed 1 million Muslims. This Democrats, Biden and Obama, presided over the killing of hundreds of thousands of Muslims, especially in Syria. They refused to give weapons to the Syrians to defend themselves. And the Arabs said, okay, we're not going to give them weapons. And Turkey now is saying, going to invade Israel. I don't think he can invade Israel. Israel is stronger than your country, and it's not going to happen. But you stood by with the Syrians being slaughtered, and you have a much larger army on the border of Syria. You never went there and finished the job by removing the Alawis, giving it to the Muslims, and then go back. La ilaha illallah. Don't think of, I'm going to have two scales. Which is heavier in wickedness? Biden, now Harris, and maybe she would she would choose a Jew to be the vice president, in which case the Republicans will be saying Jewish control. The first gentleman will be Harris's president, husband, and the husband is the president. He's a Jew. Don't think that those Westerners thought that women became the leaders. They haven't. It's just a fallacy. But anyway, the first gentleman will be a Jew, vice president a Jew, and in the Senate, if Schumer remains or somebody else controlled by a Jew, and then the other side will say Jewish control, take over of the government. But if the Republicans come back, these are the ones who presided over killing 1 million Muslims or more, and the same kind of system in the Republican side, those fanatical Christians who hate the Jews but want to support the Jews so Jesus can come back, are the same ones who started wars against Islam and Muslims. So looking at any side, it's going to be difficult to have, they did this, they did that, they did this. These skills will be equal in wickedness. Do not vote. It's not an Islamic thing to vote for these two criminals, war criminals, in a system that is anti-Islam, anti-Muslims. And don't forget the Republicans, what they did to our brothers and sisters in Afghanistan and Iraq, and then Obama did the same thing in Afghanistan and Iraq and then Syria, and think that either side will be on your side. They're not on your side. They're not saying لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Muslims are always in the back of anything today. With regards to unity, adherence to the religion, to their religion, and political influence, financial influence. But what can we say? So Trump, Harris, who else? They're equally wicked people, anti-Islam, anti-Muslims, because remember, they represent a system. The president is only the head of it, or in many cases, the figurehead. But the system, they can't change the system. It's anti-Islam, anti-Muslim, and many other things. So I encourage you, brothers and sisters, don't be deceived. Those Muslims in Michigan and in other areas who were saying Biden, Biden, Biden. Well, you replaced Biden with Harris. She's been there the whole time. Divided government. I think this would be best for Muslims, so these creeps can keep fighting each other, and maybe sometimes they will, remember their, oh, what about Muslims and Islam, but not be, we're not going to be in their face. They will be in the face of each other, and what an ugly face, because it represents what's in the heart. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help Islam and Muslims, especially Muslims, because Allah will help it. He has been helping it, but لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله والحمد لله رب العالمين.